What happens when a beloved actress sits down for what should be a lighthearted morning chat, only to face a barrage of personal attacks and condescending remarks from a host who seems determined to tear her down? In just 29 seconds, one dismissive comment about working-class roots would trigger a confrontation so explosive that it would end with a guest walking off set, leaving an entire studio in stunned silence. The studio lights were bright that morning as Brenda Blethyn settled into the plush purple sofa, her warm smile radiating the kind of genuine kindness that had made her a national treasure. She wore a simple floral blouse, understated and elegant, the kind of outfit that spoke to her down-to-earth nature. Across from her sat Lorraine Kelly, perfectly coiffed and polished, flanked by her regular panelists, entertainment correspondent Ross King and lifestyle guru Trisha Goddard, so both positioned on a separate sofa to the side. "So Brenda," Lorraine began, her Scottish accent dripping with what seemed like forced enthusiasm, "you've had quite the career, haven't you? From nothing to something, as they say." Brenda's smile flickered slightly, but she maintained her composure. "Well, I've been very fortunate, yes. I grew up in a working-class family in Ramsgate, and I'm proud of where I come from." Lorraine leaned back, crossing her legs with an exaggerated flourish. "Yes, Ramsgate. Not exactly the most glamorous starting point, is it? I mean, some of us had to work a bit harder to get where we are because we came from, well, let's say more cultured backgrounds." The air in the studio shifted. Ross King's eyes widened slightly, and he glanced nervously at Trisha, who sat up straighter, sensing the tension building. Brenda's expression remained calm, though her voice carried a slight edge. "I'm not sure what you mean by that, Lorraine. I've always believed that hard work and dedication matter more than where you start." "Oh, of course, of course." Lorraine waved her hand dismissively, her tone dripping with condescension. "But you have to admit, dear, that some people are just naturally more suited for this industry. Better breeding, better education, better everything, really." Trisha Goddard shifted uncomfortably in her seat, finally speaking up. "Lorraine, I think what matters is the work Brenda has done. Her performances have been absolutely brilliant." Lorraine shot Trisha a sharp look. "Thank you, Trisha, but I'm conducting this interview. I think I know what I'm doing." Ross King tried to lighten the mood, his American accent cutting through the tension. "Brenda, your new film looks absolutely fantastic. Can you tell us about—" "Ross, please," Lorraine interrupted, holding up her hand. "I'll get to the film when I'm ready. Right now, I'm having a conversation about real talent versus, well, luck." Brenda's jaw tightened, but she kept her voice steady. "Lorraine, I've worked in this industry for over 40 years. I've trained at drama school, performed in countless theater productions, and worked incredibly hard for every role I've ever gotten. I wouldn't call that luck." Lorraine laughed, a sharp, brittle sound that echoed through the studio. "Oh, Brenda, don't be so sensitive. I'm just saying that some of us had to overcome more obstacles. Some of us didn't just stumble into success because we had a certain look or fit a certain type that directors were looking for at the time." The audience, which had been quietly watching, began to murmur. A few people shifted uncomfortably in their seats. "What exactly are you implying?" Brenda asked, her voice calm but firm. "I'm not implying anything, darling," Lorraine said, examining her nails casually. "I'm simply stating facts. You've made a career playing what? Working-class characters? Mothers, grandmothers, the salt of the earth types? It's not exactly challenging work, is it? Not like some of us who've had to prove ourselves in harder-hitting journalism and more demanding roles." "Challenging work?" Brenda repeated slowly. "Do you have any idea what goes into creating a believable character? Any character?" Lorraine shrugged, clearly uninterested. "I'm sure it's all very technical and method and whatnot, but at the end of the day, you're playing versions of yourself. How hard can that really be?" "That's incredibly reductive," Brenda said, her patience beginning to wear thin. Every role requires research, preparation, emotional depth. Just because a character shares some superficial similarities with my background doesn't mean what? Lorraine interrupted. That it's easy for you? Come on, Brenda. Be honest. You put on a cardigan, soften your voice a bit, and there you go. Another performance. Ross King cleared his throat uncomfortably. I think Brenda's work speaks for itself. The critical acclaim, the awards nominations. Awards, Lorraine scoffed. Don't get me started on awards. Half of them are political anyway. Who you know, who you've worked with, what projects the voters want to support. They're hardly a measure of actual talent. Brenda's eyes narrowed. So my 2 Oscar nominations mean nothing? I didn't say they meant nothing, Lorraine replied smoothly. I said they don't necessarily reflect pure talent. You were nominated, yes, but you didn't win, did you? There's always someone better, someone more deserving. The audience gasped audibly at this remark. Several people exchanged shocked glances. That's a horrible thing to say, Tricia said, her voice filled with genuine anger. Absolutely horrible. It's the truth, Lorraine said, her tone matter of fact. If Brenda can't handle the truth, then perhaps she's in the wrong business. Tricia interjected again, her voice stronger this time. Lorraine, that's completely unfair. Brenda has been nominated for 2 Academy Awards. She's won a Golden Globe. Her work is... Tricia, I'm warning you, Lorraine snapped, her pleasant facade cracking completely. This is my show, and I'll run it how I see fit. But you're being unnecessarily cruel, Tricia protested. There's no justification for... I don't need justification, Lorraine cut her off sharply. I need honesty, and honest conversations sometimes make people uncomfortable. If you can't handle that, perhaps you shouldn't be on a talk show panel. Ross King looked at the camera nervously, then back at Lorraine. Maybe we should take a quick break. We're not taking a break, Lorraine said firmly. She turned back to Brenda, her eyes cold. You know what I think, Brenda? I think you've been coasting on the same shtick for years. The whole humble working class, everybody's favorite mum routine. It's tired. It's boring. And frankly, it's a bit pathetic watching someone your age still trying to be relevant. The studio went completely silent. Even the camera operators seemed to freeze. Brenda sat perfectly still for a moment, her hands folded in her lap. When she spoke, her voice was quiet, but carried through the entire studio. My age? So now we're adding ageism to classism? Oh, don't be so dramatic, Lorraine said, rolling her eyes. I'm just being honest. Something this industry needs more of, actually. Too many people blowing smoke, pretending that everyone's wonderful when they're really just mediocre. You think I'm mediocre? Brenda asked. Her voice still eerily calm. Lorraine shrugged. I think you've been playing the same character for 40 years, just with different costumes. How is that not mediocre? I mean, really, Brenda, when was the last time you actually challenged yourself? Challenged myself? Brenda's voice rose slightly. I've played everything from comic roles to dramatic leads. I've done theater, television, film. I've worked with some of the greatest directors in the world. And yet, Lorraine said, I leaning forward with a cruel smile. You always come back to the same type, don't you? The downtrodden woman, the struggling mother, the weary grandmother. It's like watching the same film over and over with slightly different sets. Those roles have depth, Brenda countered. They have complexity. Just because they're not flashy or glamorous doesn't mean they lack substance. Substance, Lorraine repeated mockingly. Is that what you call it? I call it playing it safe. I call it knowing your limitations and never pushing past them. Tricia stood up abruptly. Lorraine, this is completely out of line. You can't speak to a guest like this. Sit down, Tricia, Lorraine commanded, not even looking at her. Or leave. I don't particularly care which. Ross King was visibly sweating now. Ladies, please, can we just... Shut up, Ross, Lorraine snapped. You're just here to read the celebrity gossip anyway. Leave the real interviewing to the professionals. Brenda watched this exchange with growing disbelief. You're treating your own colleagues with the same disrespect you're showing me. Disrespect? Lorraine laughed again, that same brittle sound. Is it disrespectful to tell the truth? Is it disrespectful to point out that you've essentially been living off the same performance, the same persona, for decades? That you've never evolved, never grown, it never become anything more than what you were when you started? What I've become, Brenda said, her voice rising slightly for the first time, is someone who loves their craft, someone who respects their audience, someone who treats people with dignity and kindness, regardless of where they come from or what they've achieved. How noble, Lorraine said sarcastically. The working class hero speech. How original. Trisha had sat back down, but was shaking her head in disbelief. I can't believe what I'm hearing. Then maybe you should leave too, Trisha, Lorraine said coldly, if you can't handle honest discourse. Brenda leaned forward slightly. This isn't honest discourse, Lorraine. This is you being cruel for no reason. What have I ever done to you? You exist, Lorraine said simply. You exist in a space that should be reserved for people with actual talent, actual range, actual ability. Instead, you've carved out this little niche playing the same dowdy, frumpy characters over and over, and everyone applauds you for it like you've done something remarkable. It's insulting to those of us who've actually worked hard. You don't think I've worked hard? Brenda asked, her voice incredulous. I think you've worked consistently, Lorraine replied. But hard, please. You found your comfort zone in your 20s and never left it. That's not hard work. And that's laziness dressed up as authenticity. Laziness? Brenda's voice sharpened. I've been on film sets at 5 in the morning. I've spent months researching roles. I've worked with dialect coaches, movement coaches, learned new skills for different parts. That's not laziness. But it's all in service of the same basic character type, Lorraine pressed. You've never taken a real risk. Never played a villain. Never done action. Never stepped completely outside your comfort zone. Not every actor needs to do action films to be considered serious, Brenda said, her composure straining. Some of us focus on emotional truth, on character development, on telling stories that matter to real people. Real people, Lorraine sneered. There you go again with the working class champion act. We get it, Brenda. You're one of the people. Except you're not, are you? You haven't been for decades. Ross King tried one more time. Lorraine, I really think we need to... Ross, if you interrupt me one more time, you're fired, Lorraine said flatly. I mean it. The American correspondent fell silent, looking miserable. Brenda's face had gone from calm to something harder, more resolved. Do you speak to all your guests this way, or am I special? You're not special at all, Lorraine said. That's my entire point. You're completely ordinary, completely unremarkable, and yet you're treated like some sort of national treasure. Why? Because you're nice? Because you smile and wave and play the humble card? That's not enough, Brenda. That's never been enough. And what have you done that's so extraordinary? Brenda asked, her voice sharp now. You sit on a sofa and chat with people for an hour every morning. You ask softball questions and laugh at jokes that aren't funny. Is that your idea of groundbreaking television? Lorraine's eyes flashed with anger. At least I'm honest. At least I'm not pretending to be something I'm not. You've built an entire career on being relatable, on being one of the people. But let's be real, Brenda. You live in a mansion. You've got money. You're not one of the people anymore. You're just pretending to be. And it's pathetic. I've never hidden my success, Brenda said firmly. I've never pretended to still be struggling. But I remember where I came from, and I'm proud of it. That's not pretending. That's being grounded. Grounded, Lorraine laughed harshly. You're about as grounded as a hot air balloon. You float around in your little bubble of critical praise and fan adoration, never having to face any real criticism because everyone's too polite to tell you the truth. And you think you're telling me the truth? Brenda asked. Or are you just being needlessly cruel? Truth is often cruel, Lorraine said coldly. That's something you'd know if you ever ventured outside your comfortable little world. I've never pretended to be anything, Brenda said, her voice shaking slightly now. I've simply remained true to who I am. I'm proud of where I come from. I'm proud of the work I've done. And I'm certainly not going to apologize for any of it to someone like you. Someone like me? Lorraine's voice went dangerously quiet. What exactly do you mean by that? Someone who's built a career on being pleasant and inoffensive, Brenda said, and who's now apparently decided that tearing down a guest on live television is good entertainment. Someone who treats her colleagues like servants and her guests like targets. Someone who's forgotten, if she ever knew, what kindness and respect actually mean. Tricia was nodding along with Brenda's words. Ross looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. Lorraine's face had gone red. How dare you? How dare you come onto my show and lecture me about kindness and respect when you've spent your entire career playing victims and martyrs? You're so good at being the wounded party, aren't you? Is that what this is? Another performance? This isn't a performance, Brenda said quietly. This is me realizing that I've made a terrible mistake coming here today. Well, you're welcome to leave, Lorraine said, gesturing toward the door. Nobody's forcing you to stay. Actually, I think I will, Brenda said, starting to remove her microphone. Oh, here we go, Lorraine said mockingly. The dramatic exit. How very theatrical. How very you. It's not theatrical, Brenda said calmly, her fingers working at the small device. It's self-preservation. Something you might want to consider. Self-preservation? Lorraine laughed. From what? A few honest questions? From toxicity, Brenda replied. From someone who seems determined to make me feel small for no apparent reason other than her own insecurity. I'm not insecure, Lorraine snapped, her voice rising. I'm one of the most successful presenters in British television. Success and security aren't the same thing, Brenda observed quietly. Though you can have all the success in the world and still feel threatened by others. I'm not threatened by you, Lorraine said, but her voice had an edge to it now. Then why attack me? Brenda asked simply. Why spend all this time tearing me down if you're so secure in yourself? Lorraine's face flushed. I'm not tearing you down. I'm trying to have an honest conversation. Something this industry desperately needs. Brenda paused, looking Lorraine directly in the eye. You know what's sad, Lorraine? I came here today excited to talk about my new film. Excited to share something I'm proud of with people who might enjoy it. I thought this would be a pleasant conversation between two professionals. Instead, you've spent the last 15 minutes attacking me personally, dismissing my entire career, and showing complete contempt for not just me, but your own colleagues. I've shown you reality, Lorraine shot back. Something you clearly can't handle. No, Brenda said, standing up now. You've shown me who you really are, and it's not pretty. Tricia stood up as well. Brenda, I am so sorry. This is not how guests should be treated. Stay out of this, Tricia, Lorraine warned. No, Tricia said firmly. I won't stay out of it. This is wrong, Lorraine. Completely wrong. Ross King was still sitting, looking paralyzed with fear and discomfort. Lorraine turned her attention back to Brenda. So you're really going to walk out? You're going to throw a tantrum like a child, because someone finally told you the truth about yourself? I'm not throwing a tantrum, Brenda said calmly, continuing to unhook her microphone. I'm making a choice. I'm choosing not to sit here and be insulted by someone who clearly has her own issues to work through. I'm choosing to respect myself enough to leave a situation where I'm not being treated with basic human decency. Fine, Lorraine said, her voice cold. Leave. Run away. It's what people like you do when things get tough. People like me? Brenda asked, pausing. People who can't handle criticism, Lorraine clarified. People who are so wrapped up in their own press, their own image, and that they fall apart the moment someone questions it. You haven't questioned anything, Brenda said. You've just been cruel. There's a difference. She finished removing her microphone and placed it carefully on the sofa. Lorraine laughed, but it sounded forced now. This is brilliant television, actually. The beloved Brenda Blethyn, unable to handle a tough interview. Wait until this gets out. I've done hundreds of interviews, Brenda said. Tough ones, easy ones, everything in between. This isn't a tough interview, Lorraine. This is just mean-spirited. Call it what you want, Lorraine said dismissively. Brenda turned to Tricia and Ross. It was lovely to meet you both, even under these circumstances. Tricia reached out and squeezed Brenda's hand. You're a class act, Brenda. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Ross managed a weak smile and a nod. Lorraine scoffed. Oh, please, this is so dramatic. Well, you're acting like I've committed some terrible crime. I've simply been honest with you. Brenda turned back to face Lorraine one last time. There's a difference between honesty and cruelty, Lorraine. Between being direct and being hurtful. Between challenging someone and attacking them. You seem to have confused all three. I haven't confused anything, Lorraine said defensively. I know exactly what I'm doing. Then that's even sadder, Brenda said quietly. Because it means you're being cruel on purpose. I'm being real, Lorraine insisted. This industry is fake enough without people like me tiptoeing around everyone's feelings. Being kind isn't fake, Brenda said. Being respectful isn't fake. And using your platform to tear someone down for no reason isn't being real. It's just being unkind. Lorraine waved her hand dismissively. Spare me the lecture. If you can't take the heat, I get out of the kitchen. I've been in this kitchen for 40 years, Brenda said. I've handled plenty of heat, but I don't have to tolerate unnecessary nastiness, and I won't. She turned toward the studio exit. Don't expect to be invited back, Lorraine called after her. Brenda paused at the edge of the set, turning back one final time. That's a relief, actually. Oh, brilliant comeback, Lorraine said sarcastically. Really showed me. I'm not trying to show you anything, Brenda said. I'm just being honest, which is apparently what you value so much. I value talent, Lorraine countered. Real talent, not manufactured personas and recycled performances. Then I suppose we have different definitions of talent, Brenda said. Mine includes kindness, empathy, and the ability to connect with people in a genuine way. Yours apparently just includes being able to sit on a sofa and insult people. Lorraine's face flushed darker. You have no idea what you're talking about. I know exactly what I'm talking about, Brenda said. I'm talking about someone who's so insecure about her own place in this industry that she feels the need to tear down others to feel better about herself. I'm not insecure, Lorraine snapped. I'm successful. I'm accomplished. And I've earned everything I have. So have I, Brenda said simply. But I didn't have to step on anyone else to get there. Tricia whispered, Good for you, under her breath. Lorraine heard her and whipped around. Tricia, you're done on this show. Pack your things. Tricia stared at her in disbelief. You're firing me for supporting a guest you've been attacking? I'm firing you for insubordination, Lorraine said. This is my show. My rules. Your show is about to lose any credibility it had left, Tricia said, standing her ground. You can't treat people like this and expect there to be no consequences. Consequences? Lorraine's voice was shrill now. The only consequence here is that you're out of a job. How's that for a consequence? I'd rather be out of a job than sit here and watch you bully someone, Tricia shot back. I have standards, even if you don't. Standards, Lorraine spat. Don't talk to me about standards when you've been sitting on my panel for 3 years doing absolutely nothing of value. Ross King finally spoke up, his voice shaky but determined. Lorraine, maybe we should all just take a breath and... Ross, You're fired too, Lorraine said without missing a beat. You can't just fire everyone, Ross protested weakly. Watch me, Lorraine said coldly. I built this show. I can rebuild it with people who actually respect me. The studio erupted in shocked whispers. Audience members were looking at each other in disbelief. Brenda shook her head sadly. You're destroying your own show, Lorraine. Your own team. And for what? To prove some point about honesty? About toughness? I don't need lectures from you, Lorraine said, her voice rising. You're nobody to lecture me. I'm somebody who knows that treating people well matters, Brenda said. I'm somebody who understands that success means nothing if you're cruel to people along the way. I'm somebody who's managed to have a long, fulfilling career without making enemies or burning bridges. How very perfect for you, Lorraine said mockingly. It's not about being perfect, Brenda said. It's about being decent. Decency doesn't get ratings, Lorraine shot back. Drama does. Conflict does. Real, raw emotion does. This isn't real emotion, Brenda said. This is manufactured controversy. You're trying to create a moment, but all you're creating is a mess. I'm creating great television, Lorraine insisted. You're creating a hostile work environment, Tricia interjected. You just fired 2 people on live television for disagreeing with you. They can collect their things and leave, Lorraine said coldly. All of you can leave. I don't need any of you. Brenda looked at Tricia and Ross. Come on. Let's go together. The 3 of them started walking toward the exit. Lorraine called out, her voice getting shriller. Fine, leave. See if I care. You're all replaceable. Every single one of you. Brenda stopped at the studio door and turned back one final time. Everyone's replaceable, Lorraine. Even you. The difference is, people will actually miss us when we're gone. They'll remember us for the right reasons. And with that, she walked off the set, followed by Tricia and Ross, leaving Lorraine sitting alone on the sofa, facing a studio full of shocked audience members and crew, the silence broken only by the sound of her own heavy breathing. The cameras kept rolling as Lorraine sat there, her carefully constructed persona completely shattered, her show in ruins around her, proving that sometimes the most dramatic moments in television aren't planned at all. They happen when someone finally stands up and says, enough is enough. When dignity and self-respect matter more than publicity, and when walking away becomes the most powerful statement of all. In those final moments, before the feed cut to an emergency commercial break, Lorraine Kelly sat alone in the wreckage of her own making, a cautionary tale about what happens when cruelty masquerades as honesty and when ego trumps empathy. The purple sofa that had hosted so many warm, friendly conversations now seemed cold and empty, much like the woman sitting on it, finally forced to confront the consequences of her own actions. The studio lights continued to blare down on her as she sat frozen, realizing too late that she had pushed too far, said too much, and lost not just a guest, but her entire panel, and quite possibly her credibility, in just under half an hour of live television that would be remembered not for its entertainment value, but for its cruelty. And somewhere outside that studio, Brenda Blethyn walked away with her head held high, her dignity intact, having proven that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is simply refuse to participate in someone else's toxicity, regardless of the cameras, regardless of the audience, and regardless of the consequences. Because at the end of the day, self-respect matters more than any television appearance ever could.